Hey guys, this is the Dark Passenger, and I'm just here to talk about The Hangover Part 3. Just watch this again on Netflix. And, this one is pretty much the third and final film in the Hangover series. And it's, Phil, Stu, Alan, and Doug come back for one final adventure, kind of. And, in this one, they drive Alan. Well, they're on. Yeah, they drive Alan to, or plan to drive Alan to rehab because he's kind of fallen off the wagon you know, since his father died. And in the beginning, it showed him on the freeway with a giraffe, and then he that giraffe ended up getting its head cut off, and there was a he caused a whole big mess on the freeway, caused it to be shut down, and then after that it shows his his dad yelling at him, and he ends up dying of a heart attack, and then after that, after the funeral, they stage an intervention, and they start get on the road to drive him on over there, but then they end up being kind of stopped and taken by this guy called Marshall. This is kind of a new character. They introduced him here because they mentioned him in the first one, and now they're kind of continuing that story. And he's played by John Goodman in this, and he basically tells them that Leslie Chow, played by Ken Jeong, he stole $21 million worth of gold from him, and he wants them to go find him and bring him to him, basically. So that's what this entire movie is based on. They go to Tijuana, they find him, and they were gonna drug him, but then Chow, he found out everything, and then he cons them into robbing Marshall's house, getting the other half of the gold. They end up Then they end up back at that house after that, and Marshall tells them they just got the other half, and Black Doug ends up getting killed. He also was featured in the first movie, and yeah, later later on they go and they track Chow down. He's back in Las Vegas, and they go back to Vegas, and nobody. They find out that he had an escort service from this woman in a pawn shop. She's played by Melissa McCarthy. Cassie. That's her name. So basically, it shows her, talking to Alan and telling him that, he, that she doesn't really know anything, but gives him a card for an escort service, to just so they could maybe call and find out where he could be. But then they just go and see. Jade, played by Heather Graham, she kind of calls one of her friends for them and finds out where Chow is. He's back at Caesar's Palace, and they go over there and they finally get him and bring him to Marshall in the desert. But Alan frees him from the trunk by unlocking the kind of latch between the back seat and the trunk, and he ends up shooting Marshall and his servant, I guess. or his driver, I guess you could say. I think it was. So yeah, I mean, and also in this one, it kind of shows, Alan finally gets married in this. He gets married to that woman, from the pawn shop. They fall in love, and 6 months later, it shows how, him about to get married. And yeah, I mean, all in all, this is a decent movie to me. I mean, it's not the it's not my favorite. I don't even think it's as good as the first or the second one. It's just average, not really too funny. It just seems like all the jokes are kind of played out here already. And I mean, there's a couple of funny moments, like the scene with Ellen and the giraffe, and in the beginning when Chow escapes, but that's about it. The rest, it's more of I guess you could call it, well, they tried to make it kind of an action movie, or yeah, like an action comedy. That's what they tried to do, but it's, it was kind of a fail in my opinion. But yeah, I liked the ending as well. There's an after credits scene. It shows one last thing that happens to Stu. How he ends up with boobs. But that was actually, out of the three movies, out of all three things that happened to Stu, this is the stupidest to me. And it's kind of funny. And then it shows Chow one last time because he was the guy who sent the wedding cake. So yeah, I've pretty much talked about the entire movie here. So for those of you who haven't seen it and watched this, I'm sorry for all the spoilers, but yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much all I gotta say. I'd say check it out if you're a fan of the first two. Yeah, but that's about it. If you haven't seen the first two, you obviously have to see those first before seeing this one. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, stay tuned for more reviews, updates, thoughts, videos, movie news. Peace.